Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to run you through the plastic snorkel on our Mitsubishi Pajero, how to install it, and also why we went with the plastic snorkel as opposed to a stainless steel snorkel. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so let's quickly chat about the plastic snorkel, why we went with this one instead of a stainless steel snorkel that we had on our previous Pajero. Now the main thing is cost, right? So these are only a few $100s, and then stainless steel snorkels are close to $1,000 if not more, because you have to buy the snorkel and then you need to invest in a water diverter as well. Second thing, it has a ram head and it's also angled, so you can either have it forward facing, rear facing, depending on the environment, and because of the angle it won't also get a lot of rain in, whereas with a stainless steel snorkel most of them are rear facing and they sort of sit upwards. So the thing about that is when it rains it sort of lets rain in. So once you buy the snorkel, you also need to make sure you buy a water diverter, just so the water doesn't go straight to your airbox. So that costs additional money. Another thing about plastic, it's a lot quieter, of course. So if you're going to do a lot of Ks, I would probably recommend plastic, just because you won't hear that constant sucking induction noise of a stainless steel snorkel. A con about a plastic snorkel, of course, over time it might become brittle if it's not sort of treated. Because of the UV, that's one thing that can happen, whereas the stainless steel snorkel, once it's powder coated, it should last a lot longer and it's also a lot stronger, so you can bang it up against trees, whereas plastic, if you're going to hit that hard, that's going to break. But yeah, that's sort of the pros and cons about both. So for us personally, we had a stainless steel snorkel before. It was awesome, we enjoyed it, but we decided with this new Pajero, it was sort of a budget build. That's why we went with the plastic snorkel. Does the same job as a stainless steel snorkel. So yes, that's the main reason why we have this one instead. Alright, so let's talk about the installation. Now, of course, it's already installed, so I'm just quickly going to run you through essentially what you need to do, where the main components go, just so you don't get lost during the process. On our website as well, there's detailed instructions on how to install the snorkel, so just make sure you read those when you receive this kit. Fun fact as well, has the same part number as Safari snorkels back in the day. So Safari stopped making these snorkels. Not sure why, maybe it's because the Pajero got discontinued, but this one realistically should be the exact same then, just without the badge, which is good. Alright, so first thing, you got to remove this panel, alright, or this guard. Now most people sort of prefer to leave it on and do it, but we would recommend to take it off. I sort of helped my mechanic install the snorkel. It took us about 4 or 5 hours to install it because it's just very fiddly. Okay, so what I would recommend, take the headlight out, take your bumper off, then remove this guard and work from there. What I will also mention is it comes with a template, okay? So essentially there's two options, all right? So you either have side indicators or you don't have side indicators. If you do have side indicators like myself, then it needs to be relocated, and there's also a blanking bracket that comes with the kit that needs to go into this hole. So as you can see, this is sort of what it looks like. There's no way to sort of make it right. The only thing is if you move it too far left to cover the hole, you might not reach the front bit. So it's sort of the same. I parked up next to a car with a Safari snorkel the other day and they had the exact same thing. So it's going to bugger you for about 2-3 days, and then after that you sort of just get used to it. But of course, if you don't have any indicators, then you won't have any holes and you don't need to worry about that bracket. Right, so just before you take off the guard as well, just make sure you put the template on, mark it just so you know where the hole is, and just so you can sort of line up the snorkel to see what it's going to look like. And there's also a slot for you to mark out where the indicator will go. So that is all good. Once you move into the engine bay, alright, so there's a few brackets in the kit. One you'll see is sort of like a round shape, okay? Now that is to make the hole on the inside of your engine bay where the snorkel is going to come through. So you sort of need to screw that together, and then there will be a hole in the middle. That is your pilot hole, alright? So that is just to make the hole, and then you need to grab your saw, put that on, and then you got to drill it through, alright? And then you have enough room for all the pipes to come through. There's a massive washer bottle as well that needs to come out, so make sure you unplug that because that needs to go to your washer bottle. This is what it looks like. So it's just going to sit here right in front of the airbox next to your radiator. It's just the 2 bolts at the top here that keeps it nice and steady. And then also on the side you can see there is another bracket to keep it nice and upwards, and then down the bottom there's another bracket just to make sure it doesn't move anywhere. Right, so with the airbox, as you can see, there's some more brackets here which go underneath the airbox. So this is relocation brackets. It needs to shift a little bit backwards just to make room for the intake pipe that comes into the engine bay. So with this intake pipe, when you attach it to the airbox, make sure it is as tight as possible. So if you need to make the airbox hole a little bit bigger, just do it slowly, step by step, until the pipe can go into it. Once that is done, you want to make sure you silicone it up just to make sure it's watertight and no water will come in, so it's actually fully sealed, to make sure the air intake is at the top of your airbox, at the top of the snorkel instead of your airbox. So yes, just make sure you do that. Right, so this is what the final result will look like. The airbox is all sealed up and it is in its right position. Then you have the intake pipe that's also fully siliconed up in there just to make sure it's watertight. Then it goes through into the other silicone pipe that's going to lay underneath your guard. That is your water box right there, or the washer bottle I should call it. Okay, right, so like I said, it's the silicone pipe is in there and it attaches to the snorkel. Just make sure you have this here as well. It's sort of like a rubber pad, so it sits nice and flush against it. You can also sort of try and position it so it sort of sits flush with this line here. We just followed the template and that's sort of what it came out as. But yes, like I said, if you go a little bit left, you might find it hard to fit. So once you've done that, just make sure you install this bracket. You basically got to drill 3 holes, 1, 2, 3 into the pillar. Then you've got to put the white inserts in and then screw it down so the bracket's nice and tight, and then it's just these 2 bolts that go into the snorkel itself, and then you have a perfectly good snorkel. So yes, that's what the final result will look like. Also with the washer bottle, guys, there is a plug that goes into the factory washer bottle, so that plug will just go at the bottom of this one, just so it sucks the water out and lets it go into your nozzles. So yes, that's how it works. So there you go, guys, that is how we installed the snorkel. Sorry that it's not like a detailed installation video. We were sort of in a rush to get this car done to get ready for our Australia trip. So far it's been really good. We haven't had any issues whatsoever. What I can recommend for installation, just take your time if it's your first time installing a snorkel, just because it's very fiddly. So just make sure you take your time and it will be all smicko. But yes, hopefully this video sort of gave you the main idea on how things go, where things go, and how to fit it. But if you have any other questions, make sure to let me know. Otherwise, if you already have the snorkel, there's detailed instructions on the product page for you to go through if you get stuck. But yes, hopefully this helped, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.